Maybe today's topic is conversion for liberation, Buddhism. Recent interest in Buddhism is on Buddha's social philosophy, particularly after Dr. Baba Sahib Ambedkar's conversion into Buddhism during 1956. Scholars' interest on Buddhism has been turned to study of Buddha's social philosophy, particularly what Buddha taught for society, what is his social dimension. So, Buddha's social philosophy before Ambedkar's conversion was not studied deeply, and only it is Ambedkar's conversion that provoked many of the scholars to study or to estimate Buddha's social philosophy. Actually, Buddha can be considered as the first social revolutionary of ancient India. Even before Buddha, there are some materialist philosophers or some radical philosophers in Indian society, but still Buddha can be considered as an independent social philosopher, and he said that everything in the society or everything in the universe must be tested for the reasoning. So that is Buddha's philosophy, and he laid foundation for equality, and he laid foundation for the rationalism, and also he laid foundation for the peace and harmony among the members of the society. Then we go for the conversion of Baba Sahib Ambedkar. Ambedkar's conversion into Buddhism in 1956 can be considered as the landmark. It can be considered as a landmark in the history of Indian Buddhism, because with his conversion only, all the radical aspects or all the social revolutionary aspects of Buddha came into light. So that's why Ambedkar's conversion can be considered as an important milestone in the history of Indian Buddhism. Why Ambedkar has chosen Buddhism? Why not the other religions? Because Ambedkar considered Buddha not as a god, and Buddhism also Ambedkar considered it as a social philosophy, not the religion. As Buddha taught equality, as Buddha taught karuna, prajna and samatha, and also he laid foundation for equality of all human beings irrespective of caste, class and gender. And because of all these ideals, social ideals of Buddha, Ambedkar has chosen Buddhism, and he considered Buddha as a social revolutionary. And also Ambedkar says that the notions of or the concepts of liberty, equality and fraternity, these three concepts he has acquired from Buddha, not from French Revolution or any other revolution. Usually scholars or people believe that these concepts of liberty, equality and fraternity are propagated during French Revolution, during 18th century. But Ambedkar says that these concepts of liberty, equality and fraternity are already propagated by Buddha, and he said he has acquired these concepts from Buddhism, and also Ambedkar considered Buddha as one of his gurus. Ambedkar's interest into Buddhism was started with his school days. During his school days, and after he passed his 10th standard matriculation, some of his teachers like Keluskar has presented him Buddha's biography. his book, that book was presented to him. So by that time onwards, Ambedkar has developed some fascination towards Buddha, and later also gradually he studied extensively on Buddhism, and during his 1936 Yola conference, he has announced, he has declared that he would like to change his religion, as he born in Hinduism without his consent or without his interest, but he is not going to die as a Hindu. That is the declaration given by Ambedkar in Yola conference. But by that time he did not announce Buddhism, but still his change of religion he announced. And later, during this course of 20 years of time, he has studied extensively on Buddhism and thought of writing a book on Buddhism. He thought that there should be a handbook like a Bible for Buddhism, and studied extensively and wrote articles in Journal of Mahabodhi Society and other journals on Buddhism. And also Ambedkar has differed with the traditional viewpoint of the scholars, traditional scholars on Buddhism. He says that they incorporated some of the mythical aspects or myth they created, or they incorporated some myth on Buddha's life, like on Buddha's renunciation. On Buddha's renunciation, the Brahmanical scholars or traditional scholars have given the reasons like irrational reasons. They say that Buddha has renunciated the worldly life after approaching the four sights of the dead body, the sick man, old man, and the ascetic. So after approaching these four scenes, he has become pessimistic and renunciated the worldly life and came out of the home. So that is the reason given by the traditionalist scholars before Ambedkar. And Ambedkar says that Buddha is not that much silly person, or he is not so weak. His mindset is very strong and very rationalistic. His reason is not so irrational, and the reason for the renunciation is the dispute, water dispute between the Sakyas and Koliyas. Water dispute means that there is a river called Rohini river between the Sakyas and Koliyas, the two Janapadas from his father's side and mother's side. So for this river water, there was a dispute between these two principalities. So for that reason, for that dispute, he is supposed to participate in the war as the prince, or as the son of Suddhodana, or the Sakya prince. He is supposed to wage the war against his mother's side. So he doesn't want to participate in the war, and he has renunciated the princely life or that luxurious life, and has become an ascetic gradually. So that is the reason given by Ambedkar for his for Buddha's renunciation. And also on some other aspects like Four Noble Truths also, Ambedkar has given his reason for dukkha. Like he says that dukkha, the concept of dukkha, which is more pessimistic, which was incorporated into Buddhism by the traditional scholars later on, during the later days of after Buddha. So there is no pessimism, according to Ambedkar, there is no pessimism in Buddhism, and Four Noble Truths. Among the Four Noble Truths, the concept of dukkha was incorporated by the others are the traditionalist scholars or philosophers. So he differs with the interpretations of traditionalist scholars before Buddha, and he was influenced by some of the his previous scholars like Dharmananda Kosambi and Lakshmi Narsu, Professor Pokal Lakshmi Narsu. So he has some passion towards their works. He read that Essence of Buddhism written by Professor Pokal Lakshmi Narsu from Madras Presidency, and also he has been inspired by the book written by Dharmananda Kosambi, that is Bhagavan Buddha. In these two books also, they interpreted Buddha as very rationalistic perspective, and Ambedkar got inspired by those books, and Ambedkar has he wrote an editorial for that book of P. Lakshmi Narsu, Essence of Buddhism, and reprinted that book during 1948. Then Ambedkar fixed his date of conversion on 1956, October 14th, and it is also Ashoka Vijayadashmi. Ashoka Vijayadashmi means the day of Ashoka's conversion into Buddhism. And also Ambedkar has selected the place Nagpur for this purpose. Nagpur is the land of Nagas. So he has selectively he has got converted, and formally also, because Ambedkar doesn't consider Buddhism or conversion as his personal liberation. He doesn't believe conversion for liberation. He believes conversion for social liberation, not personal. So that's why he believes that conversion into Buddhism by any oppressed person or any oppressed social group must be an official one. It should be recorded, and it should be an open conversion. So he has planned for that. Along with his 5 lakhs of followers, he got converted into Buddhism on 14th October 1956. And a monk called Chandramani from Myanmar, he gave conversion to Ambedkar. And for that purpose of the conversion by the other his followers, Ambedkar has framed, on this occasion, Ambedkar has framed 22 oaths to utter during the conversion. Next, after his conversion, he himself only directed, or he himself only administered the conversion of his followers. So he made them to utter those 22 oaths. 22 oaths, all these 22 oaths we should discuss very thoroughly, because they are very important. They are not simply the Panchashila, they are not simply the Trisaranas. Apart from Trisaranas and apart from Panchashilas, the oaths like rejecting the incorporation of the blind faiths or myths into Buddhism, and making of Buddha as an incarnation of Lord Vishnu of Hindu pantheon, and considering Buddha as part and parcel of Hinduism and superstitions and all. He condemned in these 22 oaths. So one of the oath is, I reject the incarnation of Buddha as the 10th avatara of Lord Vishnu. And I also reject offering the Pinda Pradhanas. Pinda means offerings to the dead ancestors. So I reject that, and I don't invite any Brahmanical priest for my rituals or my personal family festivals or occasions. And I don't want to worship Rama, Krishna, or Durga, Devi, anyone, any Hindu god. And I consider the incarnation, making Buddha as incarnation of Lord Vishnu as the brutal thing. I also then, apart from this, I follow Buddha's eightfold path, Ashtanga Marga, and I follow the Panchashilas, and based on Buddha's social ideals of equality, liberty, fraternity, samatha, karuna, prajna, I live according to the Buddha's philosophy in my life. So these are some of the aspects, some of the points of those 22 oaths that were framed by Dr. Baba Saheb Ambedkar and made them to utter during their conversion. He himself only administered the conversion of his followers, 5 lakhs of his followers openly. So that is the biggest incident, biggest occasion in the history of any religion, not only Buddhism, but in the history of any religion of the world. Ambedkar's conversion is an important one, very big occasion. And before his conversion day, that is 13th October 1956, there was a press meet in the hotel. So where they have asked him, what is the name for your notion of Buddhism? So for that question, Ambedkar has answered, he has given his clarification. It is Navayana, as there are already 3 yanas, Theravada or Hinayana, Mahayana and Vajrayana. So he called, or he has named his version of Buddhism or his own interpretation of Buddhism as Navayana. So Navayana is based on, or it highlights the revolutionary aspects of Buddha, which are anti-Brahmanical and which are based on equality. Navayana was framed by him during that time. And also Ambedkar's conversion into Buddhism has highly influenced the Dalits of particularly Maharashtra. One of the modern scholars of Ambedkar's time, Sangarakshita from England, he is the monk and scholar of Buddhism. He was there during Ambedkar's conversion into Buddhism. He was present in Nagpur, and he says that all the poor people, all poor Mahars of Maharashtra, they have arrived before conversion day or before 1 week of conversion to Nagpur, and they have purchased white cloths, and it was a very big task for them. They have sold everything, all small petty things, whatever they have, all their properties, small amounts or small things, they have sold out to purchase the new garments or new white garments to wear during the conversion, and arrived to Nagpur by taking lot of risk, lot of pain. They have very big aspiration of entering into the new life. Their chains of slavery are going to be broken with the conversion. So with that big aspiration, they have arrived to Nagpur. After conversion of Ambedkar, there was a big change or considerable change in the life of the Mahars of Maharashtra. And as an access point, this Diksha Bhumi or Nagpur has become an access point for social revolution or neo-Buddhist revolution. So there was a big change in the life of Mahars of Maharashtra particularly, and they have converted all the centers or some of the meeting points or community centers as Buddhist viharas, and they used to, every Sunday they used to meet in those viharas and chant, and they used to utter the Trisaranas, and they used to listen the Dhamma talks that are delivered by some monks, Buddhist monks, and started practicing the new religion of Buddhism. And also not only practicing the new religion, but also they have changed their life. So particularly women, Mahar women, they sent their children to schools, and they have changed their previous practices, and they have changed they left those superstitious beliefs and customs. So they gave up all those superstitions and entered into the new life and practiced the religion of Buddha as prescribed by Baba Sahib Ambedkar. And also they rejected the name Mahar. So they rejected the status or identity of Mahar in the caste society, and they started calling themselves as Neo-Buddhists. Not only calling themselves as Neo-Buddhists, but also they have registered, they have recorded in the census also. In the census also they have reported themselves as a particular community called Neo-Buddhist. Neo-Buddhist is against the caste identity. It is a new identity for them, which is not based on any caste this thing. It is the new identity which is liberated identity. So that is the radical change, a tremendous change that has been occurred in the life of Mahars. Not only Mahars of Maharashtra, in several parts of India, in North India and South India also, some educated Dalits, by the time they are youth, they have participated in the conversion movement, conversion occasion from Telugu speaking states also, present states of Andhra Pradesh and Telangana also. Some leaders, Dalit leaders, intellectuals, they have participated in conversion and started the new life. And also in the states of particularly Uttar Pradesh, there is a community called Jatava. Jatavas also, they have they received the call of Ambedkar's conversion, and they got converted into Buddhism even before Ambedkar. Ambedkar's conversion was happened in October 1956, but Jatavas got converted during February, the same year, February, they got converted, and they have established many viharas and chaityas in Uttar Pradesh, and they also call themselves as Neo-Buddhists. Neo-Buddhists. So that is the big change that has been occurred in the life of the downtrodden communities with the conversion of Dr. Baba Saheb Ambedkar. And also with his conversion, with the conversion of Ambedkar, almost all the scholars of Buddhism, uh, they started very much. There is a lot of interest created on social philosophy of Buddha. So why Ambedkar has chosen Buddhism? Why not the other religions? Why he has chosen Buddhism, and what are the radical aspects that are inspired Ambedkar? So the new interest has been created on Buddhism, particularly on Buddha's revolutionary aspects or revolutionary ideals of Buddha, and the new studies, the recent days, many books are being published, and a lot of academic research and general research also it is being going on, and many people are converting into Buddhism, and conversion movement is going on all over the world, all over the country, particularly in India, several parts of India. There are conversions going on, and Buddhist Society of India, which was established by Ambedkar, has become more active in recent days, and they are also organizing conferences and seminars, and by that time, during the time of occasion of the conferences, again conversions are going on every year almost, and lot of change is occurring. People are seriously considering Buddhism as a radical social philosophy, and trying to liberate them from the clutches of caste